Self-compassion. Pretty interesting word. Don't hear it as often as some of the other words that we hear when we hear about self-care or emotional intelligence. It's a little bit more unusual. Self-compassion, because leaders work very hard at their own careers, at growing and building and sustaining a business, and at managing people, which maybe is the hardest part. Usually, they've also got some personal commitments tossed in there. In fact, the other day I was listening to a colleague recall a time when she lost both her daughter and her father in the same year, and she still kept going to work and trying to show up. I mean, unfathomable what other people are going through, what you may be going through, and the compassion that we need to keep close at heart for others is also important to keep close at heart for ourselves. Give yourself some grace. One of my favorite words. Give yourself some grace. If you're having a hard time, you're struggling, you're trying to juggle a lot of things at the same time, are you going to make mistakes? Absolutely. Do you need to hold yourself accountable for your behavior and your mistakes? Absolutely. And give yourself some grace. Have some self compassion. I think the mastery level expert at this is Kristin Neff. She describes self compassion as treating yourself when you're struggling or suffering with the same kindness and care and understanding that you would offer to a good friend if they were going through something. The thing is, I don't know, maybe it's the times, but I increasingly run across a lot of people who seem to have never really had a good friend who gave them good advice or who was willing to listen to them. And if that's the case, then let's dial into what could this look like? What should it feel like to have self-compassion? There are about three core components we'll step through. One is self-kindness versus self-judgment. So being gentle and understanding with yourself rather than harshly critical. It's so easy for us to turn maybe to a child or to a friend and be kinder to them than we are to ourselves. We have that really negative voice in our head sometimes. And if you want more on that, I'll put a link to another video that talks more about your inner critic. You got to be aware of that voice, question it, say, hey, how are you trying to help me right now? You can also look at humanity versus isolation, remembering that suffering, failure, mistakes are part of the human experience, that people around you are going through things you may not even be aware of, is important because it can help you feel less alone. And being mindful of what's happening versus maybe over identifying, either suppressing your emotions or being completely overwhelmed by your emotions and maybe even becoming dramatic and pulling others into it. What if you can recognize you are having painful thoughts or feelings and have a balanced awareness around it? These are concepts that Kristin Neff will teach in her many videos and books and classes that she has about self-compassion and compassion. So I encourage you to check them out. Self-compassion is not about self-pity. It's not about self-indulgence. So you don't let yourself off the hook, but you can give yourself some grace and say, oh, I am dealing with a lot. That is painful. I maybe didn't handle it correctly. It's like when you choose to believe that others around you are doing the best they can in that moment, you can choose that for yourself too. Allow yourself the grace to make a mistake, to learn and evolve, and take actions that give you that pause so you have a minute, so you have self-compassion, and then take actions to correct the wrongs that you maybe have unintentionally committed. Some of the benefits of self-compassion include greater emotional resilience, increased life satisfaction and happiness. Don't we all want more of that? And more motivation, more personal responsibility. So, unlike sometimes how people think that self compassion could maybe be self indulgent or lazy or make you complacent, it's actually the opposite. You give yourself a moment and you give your own little hug and you are compassionate towards yourself, it tends to motivate you to get up and keep going. It also lowers your levels of anxiety, depression, and shame. So, in general, I would say learn more about this, dive into it, see if it's something you need to offer yourself. Neff has lots of practical tips about how to practice and learn self compassion. Just like everything else, I guess, we have to learn how to do it and then we have to practice it to be really good at doing it. So, one of my favorites is a self compassion break, where when you're in a difficult situation, you just pause and say to yourself, this is a moment of suffering. Suffering is a part of life. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion that I need. Often, that small acknowledgement, that mindful moment, is enough to help you then take the next right step, to help you then regulate and move forward. There's also soothing touch, writing a letter, journaling, talking to that inner critic, and practicing reframing what the inner critic says in your mind. There's a few more out there. And so, what I would say to you is, as you go through the week, as you go through time ahead, as you are looking and feeling and maybe struggling, be conscious of that and give yourself some grace. Have a little self compassion. Bring it into your leadership. Have compassion for yourself as a leader and have compassion for those that you have on your team, that you're working with, that you're surrounded by. Everybody is going through something. Let's help lead each other and ourselves.